Mike Pence appears to be refusing to say Donald Trump's name at this point in time. I noticed this in an interview we played yesterday where Pence referred to Trump as my former running mate. And I thought, I don't know if there's something to that. I don't know if something's going on. We now have another example of this, and I think it's quite an interesting strategy move to the extent that it is that. So as a reminder, here's a clip we played yesterday, Dana Bash to Mike Pence, talking about Trump's rhetoric, and Pence refers to Trump as my former running mate.
Talking about the potential for violence. Donald Trump said this week, talked about how his supporters might react if he is charged and faces potential jail time.
I think it's a very dangerous thing to even talk about, because we do have a tremendously passionate group of voters, much more passion than they had in 2020 and much more passion than they had in 2016. I think it would be very dangerous.
Does that kind of rhetoric worry you?
Well, it doesn't worry me because I have more confidence in the American people and in the people in our movement. Look, it was one of the things that infuriated me on January 6th with what I saw, people ransacking the Capitol and engaging in violence against law enforcement officers down. I think that I would say not just the majority, but virtually everyone in our movement are the kind of Americans who love this country, are patriotic, or are law and order people who would never have done anything like that there or anywhere else. So I have more confidence in the American people than that. I hear my former running mate's frustration in his.
All right. So I hear my former running mate's frustration. So was that a one-time thing, or is this the new way that Pence is referring to Trump? It appears to be the way that Pence is now referring to Trump. Here's another clip from an interview that Mike Pence did this week with Hugh Hewitt, the right-wing radio host.
I heard my former running mate is announced over the weekend that he's willing to promise that Ukraine will never be in NATO. Look, in my opinion, the only thing Putin.
All right. My former running mate. What is the point of doing this? Why does Mike Pence seem unwilling to utter the name? Keep my name out of your mouth. Why won't he say Trump's name? Could be just like a subtle thing of distance himself from Trump and Trump's actions on January 6th, etc. The reason that it's hard to believe that that's the point is that he's kind of been defending Trump about January 6th and saying, I don't think his actions were criminal. Sure, he was reckless, but I don't think he was criminal. And I'm not worried about him, again, fomenting violence in this way. All right, so that doesn't seem to be the reason. Maybe Pence is trying to appeal to a broader base of Republicans who are divided on Trump, but they're not yet against Trump. And Pence is making the calculation that I'm just not even going to mention the guy by name, and maybe that'll help. Maybe, but it also doesn't really seem that logical. So I don't know that that's the reason. Maybe someone is simply giving Pence this advice. Maybe someone came to Pence, tears in their eyes, and said, sir, don't say Trump anymore. We just want to take the word Trump out of this, refer to him as your former running mate. Maybe some consultant or strategist or advisor went to Pence and said, that's what you should say. Maybe that's it. Whether it's a good idea or not, whether they know what they're talking about or not, I just don't know. Only Mike Pence really knows. Maybe it's a goof that Pence finds it funny, sort of like I say Tulsi Gabbard, and Pence is finding it entertaining during these interviews just to say my former running mate. I don't really know. But what I can tell you is that it doesn't really seem to be helping Mike Pence make any headway in this primary. Just a reminder of where Pence is right now. He is tied for third with Vivek Ramaswamy. Ramaswamy surging and Pence declining slightly. So if the current trend lines continue, I would expect Mike Pence to be back in fourth place by next week. In terms of individual polling, Pence is polling as high as 7 and as low as 3 during the month of July, and does not exactly have winner written all over him. We need to teach kids to think critically and independently, and we aren't doing a good enough job of it. I have a book right here that teaches kids critical thinking. I wrote this book, and it's available on Amazon at davidpakman.com/book. This is told through the story of a kid detective. The idea is critical thinking, thinking independently, is like solving a mystery. Getting clues, evaluating them, thinking through scenarios. The right knows that when kids think critically, they don't end up being Republicans when they're adults. And that's why they hate teaching kids critical thinking. This book alone won't solve the problem, but it will get kids interested. Get a copy, Kindle, paperback at davidpakman.com/book.